Hello, hello, my lovely Scorpios. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. Scorpios. We have the shadow and the mirror and the shaman, the starborn, the gem, the womb, and the mystic. Well, I mean, the shaman is the idea of like letting something go. The mirror is the idea of like a fractured image, right? Like you've just got to let go of this fractured image, this fractured idea, because it really is just like holding you back. However that plays out for you, you know? You know, in a lot of ways, I just kind of get this feeling of like you being like playing a part, playing a role, and you being like, well, that's my role. That's who I am, right? That's who I have to be. And because that's who I am and that's who I have to be, that means that my only option then is to be this version of myself. But that's not true. I just kind of get the feeling that like, it's like you're a whole lot more than just the one thing. You just haven't been able to let go of it. For whatever reason, it is very deeply rooted in the identity of who you identify yourself with. You know, whether that is like a group of friends or, you know, like a type of job that you work in, or, you know, your family, but, you know, like your family's doing stuff that you're like, that's not okay. And I have to, you know, like but like, even though I don't agree with it, I have to somehow like accommodate it. And, you know, there's just something that you've been holding on to that really isn't quite right. And you've known it's not quite right, but you've held on to it because you felt like you really needed to for whatever reason. I don't think that you're continuing to do that. I think that you are starting to, you know, like come back to life, rise up into your value. I think that you feel safe and secure in something that you're doing. And I feel like to you feel like you just tapped into some like pretty fucking dope insight. I mean, the mystic is the psychic knowing, you know, and I mean, I obviously can speak personally for myself, but I know that I don't process information in the same way that a lot of people do. And as a result, I don't learn in the same fashion that a lot of people do. And I don't make sense of things in the same way that other people do. And so, you know, like some people might take this path and I might take this path, but since I took this path, I have all this insight and understanding that somebody who went this way doesn't have. You know what I mean? But I feel like you are letting go of this like one path and like holding on to a path that gives you a different perspective, or you were holding on to a path that was giving you a different perspective, and because you held on to that path, it opened up your world in a way that like now you're able to put all of that perspective to use, but in a safe environment. Yay. I am always an advocate for safe environments. I don't like to feel unsafe. I don't like for the people around me to feel unsafe. Okay. Scorpios. Let's see what else we can get for y'all. Six of Cups. Well, taking your good and going. I don't know. I feel like this could be a relationship, or this could be, you know, like a job. It could be so many things, but I just kind of feel like taking the good and going. Like the truth is, I've made a decision to go in a direction that empowers me and allows for me to utilize my gifts and my skills and my talents. Because it doesn't require that I hold on to some identity that I don't resonate with. Three of Cups. The Empress. Oh, I love that. You have the Empress and the Emperor. The Hanged Man. Well, I mean, I don't know. It could be that you're seeing something very differently, because I just kind of get the feeling of like an idea of partnership. And Scorpios, I don't know if maybe you are just kind of like releasing an idea of partnership. I don't know, because in a way, I almost feel like there's an idea of like, for some of my Scorpios, you were just holding on to this relationship, holding on to what this relationship meant for you, holding on to the identity that you felt like it gave you. And you weren't preventing yourself from being, you know, like outside of that relationship. I don't feel like that's what I'm trying to say, but you allowed for it to consume you in a way where you felt like you couldn't imagine yourself with anybody else. And I almost get this feeling of like, no sooner do you let that go than you find yourself in like a relationship that is very much like the counterpart to you. You know, like the emperor and the empress, you know, it's like divine partnership. And I feel like you're seeing divine partnership through different eyes, because I do feel like there are some Scorpios here who have maybe really clung to an idea of like the twin flame, or, you know, like your soulmate, or, you know, but the thing is that when people use that terminology lightly, you know, they kind of like negate whether or not they actually have things in common with those people. Whether or not they are actually aligned in the way that they would like perceive building lives together. You know, like people can be like, oh, that's my soulmate. And it's like, but do you actually have anything in common with that person? You know what I mean? Like, do you really like them in real life? Like, if you weren't fucking them, you know, like, would you want to build a life with them? Do you agree with the way that they want to build their lives? Do you agree with the way that they, you know, like the relationships, that like the way that they hold space for the relationships in their lives? You know, like, do you actually really, you know what I mean? Because that does feel like something that like some of my Scorpios could really be going through. And you are, I don't know, I just kind of feel like this idea of like, you let that go and you experience what it is to actually have a lot in common with somebody that you are, you know, like you're in love with, or that you are, you know, like you have, I don't know, just like a friendship and a commonality, like common ground, you know, like somebody you feel like you're building with. If it's not a relationship for my Scorpios and it's something different, you know, it could be that you were, you know, like, I mean, you can apply it to anything. You can apply it to family. You can apply it to friendships. And you had friends and you were like, well, these people are my friends. These people are my friends. But it's like, no sooner do you release your like obligation to spending time with these people, then now all of a sudden you're free to engage with, you know, like people who are moving in the direction you're moving and doing the things that you're doing. And instead of feeling held back and fractured out, you feel whole and empowered. And, you know, just like, this is what it means to have partnership. This is what it means to have community. I feel like you're glad that you took your good and you went towards the value that you have, because like a healthy Scorpio, like a conscious Scorpio is like the safest place on the face of the planet. The Eight of Wands, the Three of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups, the High Priestess, and the World. Yeah, I don't know, because it does kind of feel like maybe this is like a I don't want to say a rushed decision, but it does kind of feel like an all of a sudden decision. And yet it's an all of a sudden decision that I think honors like your as above so below. Like, you have been working on yourself, you have been trying to, you know, like move in the right directions and align your energy accordingly, and the more you do that, the more of a conscious relationship you have with yourself, the more of a conscious relationship that you start to require of the people, of the relationships that you have in your life. And I kind of feel like that's what's happening. And I, you know, if this doesn't resonate with you, please do leave it for somebody that does resonate with. because obviously these are general reads and they can't resonate with everyone in every single way. But this really does feel the Father, the Orphan, and the Nectar. Well, I mean, the Orphan is just kind of that idea of abandonment, and the Father is being lifted up on a pedestal and being dropped flat on your face. And then the Nectar is like, it's life-giving. I don't know, because again, it just kind of feels like, well, if you were dealing with in a relationship with somebody who you didn't have anything in common with, if for some of my Scorpios, you were dealing with relationships that were very emotionally neglectful, where you felt like you were being gaslit, where you felt like you were being manipulated. For some of my Scorpios, if you felt like you were being abused, you know, if you were being abused, you know, it just feels like there's such a difference in this new relationship that it doesn't make sense to not move forward. It doesn't make sense to not lay what was to rest. I don't know why it doesn't make sense for you. And I don't know how you come to that conclusion. I just know that that's how you feel. Scorpios, I love you all so fucking much. If this did resonate with you, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all again soon. Bye.